So what is your study schedule like? So you mentioned a lot of clinicals, you're doing that already. So what's kind of a day in the life?
Life. Well, usually during the normal semester, we usually have only on a couple days do we have actual classes from like 9 to 4. Usually it'll be like one lab in the morning or a couple classes in the afternoon. But usually we'll go to classes, we'll come back, maybe like during the actual semester, a couple hours of studying a day. And then when it comes to like test time and exam time, ramp it up to like 4, 5, 6.
Yeah.
And then just make sure you're getting lots of sleep, make sure you're eating a lot, make sure you're staying hydrated.
And remember, you're going to be studying in Australia, so enjoy yourself. You know, education is one thing, but if you're going to be coming over here, you want to experience what your place has to offer as well.
I love it. That's awesome. Yeah, that's a really, really nice point. Experience Australia. You're going to be there for a little while, so you want to enjoy your time there.
Yeah.
That's great. And we have a lot of questions coming in. And so you mentioned enjoying your time there, obviously. Are you guys doing any extracurriculars? And Parshas, you mentioned that you did Kumon. So how important are those extracurriculars in your mind, not only for your application, but also just for your happiness when you're there?
Well, JCU itself doesn't have too many extracurriculars. So mainly we kind of, Nate and I, we go to the gym here and there. We kind of, there's basketball on here and there that we do. But mainly our extracurriculars are just like going to the university and hanging out with our friends. We're at a student lodge place right now. So we're kind of surrounded by students. So whenever we walk outside, we'll like see someone who we know, and then so we'll just end up chatting and everything. And then so yeah, mainly extracurriculars and things in school like that, they're really helpful for your application. But then coming here, at least first year, you're kind of getting used to it, so you don't really have time to branch out as much as you want to, because you're kind of mainly focused on studying. But yeah, other than that, afterwards, things kind of just you get into a set rhythm of things, and it just works out.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Like anything. And kind of an Austrek perspective of that question too is James Cook University, like you said, Nate, is really one of the only ones that require any, supplemental
Yeah.
applications or any writing. So it's not to say that any, extracurriculars that you've done or any dental shadowing that you've done, dental related certifications or anything like that, isn't going to be useful because a lot of our programs do have interviews, which obviously you can use that stuff to shine in. But yeah, as far as the applications required, it's generally a pretty simple process. We have actually another question that you kind of led right into. So how was the jump transferring from high school and straight into a professional degree?
Well, it's a lot. Going from high school where you're getting, little bits of information at a time to, this dental school where they're trying to force feed you information through a tube, I find. So it's for me, it's all about the time management, and I'm lucky to have a very good study partner here in Par. He's very highly intelligent. So I think together we've kind of figured out a little bit of a groove, and it takes some time, adjusting, coming over here, figuring out different study habits and how you intake information, what works for you. And I think once you figure that out, with along with how you're going to manage your time, you're going to be the most efficient, and that's really what matters.
Yeah, absolutely. That's great. And kind of so in terms of that, obviously you mentioned getting a routine and all of that. Did you find it hard to manage not only academically, but being away from home? And yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yes and no. I think part of that routine is figuring out what time works best for you to, FaceTime makes it, I find quite easy to stay in contact with, friends, family, anyone else. So, yeah, like I said, part of that is figuring out what time works best for everyone to keep in contact with people at home so you don't feel so homesick. And you're very, very busy as it is. So it kind of keeps your mind off of, yes, you are moved halfway across the world, but you're so busy that your mind's occupied with other things, I find.
Yep. Anything to add to that, Parshast?
Kind of exactly what Nate said. Usually here, I don't know about the other universities, but for JCU, you have like a really tight knit international student community. So if like when you come here, you won't feel like you're really that far away from home. Like here we have, I think, around 10 or 11 international students, and we see each other, we talk to each other like every day pretty much. So it doesn't, it's like a home away from home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's really great to hear because, yeah, obviously it is very far away, especially those students that are coming from high school. They've maybe most likely never lived away from home before. So it's really nice that you guys have, you settle in. Like I said, most of our students don't really have too much of a culture shock. It's very similar to Canada, except you can study on the beach and it's way more laid back.